I was first exposed to the royal family actually from my mom, who when I was growing up, she was a huge Princess Diana fan. She actually had this book of like Princess Diana paper dolls, which I cut up, played with all the time. Now I know that you probably weren't supposed to do that because they were like commemorative, but I was obsessed with them. And so that's kind of where like my interest started. It was actually the Harry and Meghan interview with Oprah. They did, I'm sure everyone's seen it. They were talking about issues of race and all this stuff with the royal family, and it felt like a lot of people online were talking about it. I had nobody in my everyday life to talk about it with because it was the middle of the pandemic. I had just moved to Harrisburg the year before, and just like didn't have a lot of friends here that were interested in that. So I made a TikTok and shared some of my opinions about the interview. I never expected it got, I think it was 3 million views, like my original first video. Yeah, because I was talking about who in the royal family would have made comments about Meghan and Harry's child's skin tone. So very controversial topic. A lot of people had a lot of thoughts, which I didn't quite expect. But then from there, I just kind of thought, okay, people were interested in what I had to say and interested in this conversation, so I'm gonna keep making these videos and see where it goes. It's tricky because a lot of my content is tied to the news cycle and current events. A lot of it kind of depends on what's going on any given day. Like if there's a big royal news story, I have to put some of my projects, like I have an art history podcast, onto the back burner. So it changes. It's always something different. So yeah, I just try and keep on top of what's being said in the royal space. And from there I can decide what I'm going to prioritize. There's been such this like rise in royal culture, royal news. And I think it's important to be coming at that from like a logical, a history-based perspective and an intersectional perspective. So those are the things that I've always prioritized when I'm having these conversations. And I think it's, for better or for worse, it's grown up around me from that. I have people tell me sometimes, and I don't know how true this is, but they'll say like, you're part of the reason that like the conversations that we're having now are happening about, race and media literacy. Like a lot of people love to take headlines about Harry and Meghan at face value, but that's not usually like the truth. It's not the reality of the situation. So it's just important to me because these conversations weren't happening like 3 years ago. I'm not saying I caused them to happen, but I think I tapped into a need for a space to have those conversations.